But listen, the man is in here. The man of the hour is here. And I'm going to bring forth the man that's behind all of this we've been talking about, put together this regiment for us. Some of you still might have some questions, or you just might need just that last bit of boost or insight. Dr. Eric Prince, we are so grateful that God collaborated this together to help this man. He has been all over the world, all over the country, and helped so many people with what God gave him. He worked in emergency medicine for years and would bring people back to life. But at some point, he realized that just wasn't the answer. And so, because he's been under the tutelage of very famous people that like Dr. Sebi and all these people that he's learned so much from, I want to bring to you guys this man, Dr. Eric Prince, naturopath, who has just really changed our lives. And we're so grateful for his presence. Dr. Prince, I got to make you a co-host. Hold on.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Hello, everyone. Anita, how you doing? Anita, I'll be seeing Anita and Fred at the end of the month.
Looking
which
forward
is awesome.
to it.
And this is the dynamic that's kind of new.
We can't see you, Dr. Prince. Or you trying to let us see you?
Well, I'm actually driving from another event, so
okay, no problem.
So my environment is dark. I'm not stationary, so that's why. So I apologize. You guys can't see my pretty face today. I apologize. but I put up the kaleidoscope, so you guys can stare into the kaleidoscope as you're tuning in, so we can download this information into your subconscious. So it's a strategic plan why I got the kaleidoscope image there. But the event that I'm having with Anita and Fred, it's been posted. It's the it's the All Black National Convention. And so Anita and Fred, which are our wellness coaches, they worked to get me into the event so that I can speak on health and wellness. The reason that's important is because this is something that everyone can do throughout the year. If you know of an event, once you become a wellness coach, that you want to be a part of, that you want to vend at, that you want to scan at. And like Dr. Ross said, you can have a scanning party. I'll come out to the scanning party and talk. Whatever we need to do as a team, to get people the right information, the best information. And like Dr. Ross said, there's no one that can say that it doesn't work. Only person that can say that is a person who doesn't do it. And that's them looking from the outside in. But once you get into it, you realize, it's a little tough. We're not going to tell you it's easy. We don't want it to be easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. This is why you need the support. This is why we need wellness coaches. Without wellness coaches, this would be a challenging program, because most of who you are is subconscious, which means that you're trying to change yourself at the same level that you created yourself, which is not going to work. You have to go higher, which means that you need the energy, the support of someone on the other side to pull you across. Most people's habits, bad habits, are locked in their subconscious mind, and it's also a part of their personality. So some people don't even know that they have bad habits, or some people don't know that the habits that they have are actually leading to disease, leading to depression, and ultimately leading to death. So in order for a person to override their own subconscious program, you need to have a wellness coach. It's no way around it. So what we're doing is we're putting together the next generation of a new healthcare system. And this system must be created because the old system is failing us tremendously. We're losing over 250,000 people alone just to medical error and medical treatment. Now, I ain't even talking about cancer or heart disease yet, but we're talking about just the medical error and medical treatments that are happening that are bringing about death. We can't keep going down that road and expecting it to get better. It's not going to get better. In fact, it's been getting worse year after year. How much money have you given to Heart Association or to the heart charities or cancer, breast cancer awareness, how much money have we given to them? Why is breast cancer still, not breast cancer, but cancer? Why is cancer still number 2? Why is heart disease still number 1? That's because nobody's trying to cure this. It's an illusion. It's an illusion of the third kind. And until we realize it's an illusion, we're going to keep on buying into it and thinking that it's going to help our loved ones. Meanwhile, our loved ones are going down the drain and we're helpless until now. Now we have the opportunity to help our loved ones, to help our friends, to help our family, to help our community as we've never done before. And this is the mandate that was given me by God. And when I say that, I don't say it lightly. I received instructions back in 2002 when I had my outer body experience. And let me tell you, that outer body experience literally scared the hell out of me. Got all the negative stuff out of me, turned my life around, and put me on a whole different trajectory towards where I'm at now. Now, back then, I couldn't have known that this is where it was coming to. By faith, I just kept following the guidance of the Spirit. And that's true. The Holy Spirit does teach you a lot of things. Because a lot of and let me explain that. Because see, if we don't understand the science behind this, then a lot of it's not going to make sense. When the scripture says the Holy Spirit teacheth us all things and brings to remembrance whatsoever Christ had said, let me explain what that means. When you tap into the energetic fields of your own body, you tap into higher frequencies. When you tap into higher frequencies, you're going to get more information. Frequency carries information. And you know that, right? Because when you turn on your TV, there's nobody inside your TV acting. There's a lot of people trying to get inside of TV. No, those people are inside of frequencies. That information is inside of frequencies. That frequency is being transmitted to your house. And that's how you're able to see all of these different movies. But you have to understand that in your human body, you have energy centers, and each energy centers represents a higher frequency. So as you tune into your own energy, as you become healthier, then you're tapping into higher information, better information. So when you talk about the Holy Spirit, you're talking about the energetic field in which human beings live. It's the invisible field. You can't see it, but it is spirit. Spirit is frequency. Spirit is life force energy. Spirit is prana. Spirit is chi. Spirit is ki. Depending on what culture you go to, it's the same thing, but it's a different name. So when you tap into higher frequencies, you get a download. That download is information that's not coming from your body, but it's coming from beyond your body. That's when you get a revelation. You know how most people have gotten a revelation at some point in life. That was some information or frequency that somehow got in, was sent to you through transmission. You unscrambled the signal, and it came in as an image or a thought or a picture, and now you had information that you didn't have before. So when I say in 2002 I had an out-of-body experience, in that experience I was elevated to a higher frequency. And on that frequency, God had given me the plan, the plot, and the future of humanity. And then I went to understand it more, because when I started studying scripture, what I realized in scripture is that God created man to become God. Now, this may sound like blasphemy because we're not taught this. We're not taught that, but you got to understand that if I go to the book and I show you in Psalms 82, as I have said, ye are gods. This is what was spoken by in the Psalms of David. But then if you go to the book of Mark, Jesus confirms that scripture. He says, is it not written in your scriptures, as I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High? That means that in the mouth of two or more witnesses is a fact established. So if we're called gods, and in the beginning, they said that we're made in the likeness and image of God, then the question is, why are we sick? Because we believe we can be. We believe we can be sick. And let me tell you, the power of belief is greater than anything on the planet. Because if you believe that you can be sick, then by that same power, you're going to manifest the reality of it. But at the same time, if you believe you can be well, then you're going to manifest that reality as well. It doesn't matter whether you think you can or think you can't. You're right both ways. So the wellness coach is so powerful and it's so necessary, because the coach is the one that's going to keep you optimistic about where you're going and what you're trying to do. If you have a goal, you share that goal with the coach. The coach takes that goal, and by the power of agreement, the scripture says, if two shall agree on earth in anything that they ask, it is done for them by the Father in heaven. Let me tell you, that scripture has never failed me. Anytime I have agreed about anything for any reason with anyone, it has come to pass. Now, sometimes it comes to pass quick. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it may take a day. There have been times where months down the line, something will come to pass, and I look back like, wait a minute, that was something I agreed upon 9 months ago. So don't worry about when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. Just know that it will happen if you go into that agreement. So a wellness coach is someone who's going to enter into an agreement with you to manifest and achieve your goals, whether it's health, whether it's family, whether it's finances, because all of this is encompassed in the cleanse. There are people that, might have had some blood pressure issues and some weight issues once they start cleansing, but then all of a sudden, now they're getting new jobs. Now they're getting new promotions. Now they're entering into new relationships. They're like, wait a minute, this is all a part of the cleansing process? Yes, because you're getting rid of all the old blocked negative emotions from the past experiences that you've ever had. That means that you're not only dealing with physical toxins, you're also dealing with mental and emotional toxins. And those are probably more saturated in your system than the physical toxins. I'll give you a case in point, Dr. Roz. There was a situation, and this lady has a book out. The name of her book is called A Change of Heart. This is about a woman who had to have a heart transplant. For whatever reason, like many people, the heart got weak. It became arteriosclerotic, and she had to get a new heart. Well, we know now that if a person is in that state, in that condition, we can help them reverse heart disease. But she didn't have anyone in her corner like that. So she had to go forth and she had to get the heart transplant. Well, guess what? It was successful. But here's the problem. She started having a lot of issues. In fact, it was a male's heart. So it was a male's heart, a man's heart put in a woman's body. A man's heart was put into a woman's body. And of course, anytime you have a transplant, you have to take immunosuppressant drugs. Some of you may have, I don't know, you may be some of you out there that may be dealing with that. Sorry, it's a lot of action in Chicago. But the woman had a successful heart transplant, but she was starting to develop characteristics of a man. She was starting to develop even how she walked, how she talked, even her personality started changing. The question is, well, why after the heart transplant did she start having these characteristics? Because the memory, the energetic field from the heart of the donor had now become her field of energy. Now she was tapping into the energy from the person who was no longer on the planet.
Wow.
And she developed some of those same characteristics. So that's why I say there's information in frequency. And so we store a lot of the past in our bodies, in our organs, and our body becomes the subconscious mind. So when you talk about detoxifying the body, you're talking about mental, physical, and emotional as well, because you have to uproot the past. Otherwise, you're going to keep on following those same energy patterns back to some of the troubling times that you've experienced that brought about depression, that brought about anxiety, that brought about divorce, that brought about demise. So that's why it's so important. So that's why it's so important to help people to cleanse and detoxify on multiple levels. And let me tell you, every human being on the planet needs this process. This isn't just something we're trying to pitch to anybody who's interested. No. we're trying to help save lives, and we're trying to help save souls. So I wanted to express this because it's more important about the intent behind this process, because the intent comes from the Father. The Father is changing the world. The world is changing fast, and nobody can stop it because he has freed our people now. There is no longer a curse on our people. The curse has been lifted. That means that who's ever in power when we were under the curse is now about to be replaced. You see what I'm saying? He's given us back the throne. He's making us priest again. He's putting us back on top where we should be. The last became first, becomes first, and the first is going to become last. So we have to be respectful of this whole process and what it's going to do for us. And we have to learn as much as we can, because your education doesn't stop here on Zoom. Your education actually starts once you get certified and you get out there and you start learning stuff. Because everybody that's talking to you right now, and all the testimonies, they come from their experiences. There's only so much we can teach you on Zoom, but then after that, you get out there and you start using what you know and you start learning about everything. And there are things that you're going to bring back that we may not have experienced. So everyone gets to add to our educational pool, our educational capacity. And man, now we're a powerful culture. Not only that, but we're starting to channel our money back to us. So now we're becoming a wealthy and healthy culture. We didn't have that before. So look at what we're doing. You know, we're now becoming wealthy and healthy. We're going to be free, and we're going to have legacy. And those are the 4 pillars of Wakanda, right? Those are the 4 pillars. So we cover all bases now. In fact, Sharon and I, she's driving while I'm talking to you guys. We just came from a raw food event. Terry Anderson, she called. She asked me at the last minute. She said, "Hey, they're having a raw food event. Can you speak at the event?" I was like, "Sure, I don't have a problem with that." They were selling tickets, but they sponsored us, so of course we didn't have to pay, because the information. The information we were bringing was far more valuable. It was priceless. Let me tell you, it was maybe out of 50 people, it might have been maybe 6 Black folks there. Everybody was either Indian, Caucasian, Lithuanian. And let me tell you, you can hear a pin drop in that room when I started talking, because even though these were quote unquote healthy people in different modalities, there was stuff that I was telling them that they was not aware of. And they listened intently. Nobody moved. I thought for a minute time had frozen, because I'm looking out and wasn't nobody moving, not a head. Nobody was blinking. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Am I in a zone or something? And then somebody moved. I said, okay, they're alive. But the point is that they were listening. They were listening intently. They wasn't moving around saying they wanted to digest all of that information. Because I talked to them about detoxification. I talked to them about biofeedback technology. I talked to them about reversing the bloodline curse. And let me tell you, it's not just Black folks with bloodline curses. White folks, Indians, they all got bloodline curse in their family. So if they could figure out a way to reverse that, live longer, get younger, be wealthier, that's everybody's dream. That's humanity's dream. So that's the one race we all encompass, humanity. Forget all of the color differences. Forget all the cultural differences. Let's figure out how to live younger, longer. And so,
Dr. Prince, we've got a few questions.
Yeah, let them roll.
All right. So somebody asked, how will the cleanse work if you are hypoglycemic?
Hypoglycemic. So now, is this a person that is actually dealing with diabetes? Because hypoglycemia, whether you're hypo or hyper, it's still about addressing the pancreas. Because if you're hypo, is your pancreas secreting sufficient insulin? Which is usually the problem. That means that your body is starting to use the pancreas as a dump site. which means now if you're not getting enough insulin into the system, then you're not getting sugar into your cells, which means you are going to be hypoglycemic and you're going to need to eat something in order to get that blood sugar up. See, you don't want to focus on symptoms as much. Symptoms are distracting. It's about the underlying causes of all those symptoms. If you're in the category of metabolic disorder, then that means that your body and your bloodline is conditioned for dumping excessive waste into the pancreas. That's why the doctor will tell you, well, he'll ask you, do you have diabetes in the family? Because he knows unless you change something about what you're doing, about your lifestyle, then your body's gonna do the same thing. It's gonna be dumping toxins into the pancreas, and that's gonna hinder the beta cells from producing sufficient insulin.
And so she said no diabetes at this point.
No diabetes?
No diabetes at this point.
Okay, if there's no diabetes, then I need to talk to her directly to see what she's doing, because, you know, hypoglycemia may just be, you know, something with her calorie intake, maybe something with her sugar intake. But usually it has to do with diabetes, whether it's hypo or hyper. There's a lot of people deal with what's called insulin shock. Insulin shock is when, you know, a person has a lot of insulin in their system, but they don't have food in their system. So therefore the insulin starts affecting them. Those are people with hypoglycemia. So I need to know if she's dealing with insulin shock. Is she on medication? And then is she also consuming animal protein?
Abina, you can unmute. You're right there. You can unmute.
Yeah, speak up for yourself.
Are you able to unmute?
Need the air on.
Yes, I'm driving too. But
okay.
As far as I know, she does not have, well, she's not diabetic. And what was the other thing that she said?
Is she on any medication?
I don't think so, but I'm not for sure.
Okay. Is she overweight or underweight?
Underweight. Well,
Okay,
she's average. She's average. She's average.
Okay, so she.
For her height, because she's about 4'9".
Got you. Well, during the cleanse, if she's dealing with hypo, how young is she?
She's 50.
50. Got it.
So, and she hasn't started the cleanse yet. She's worried about starting the cleanse because she's hypoglycemic.
Yeah, well, yeah, that I'm talking, thousands of people have done the cleanse with hypoglycemia, as well as hyperglycemia. Even people that are underweight as opposed to people that are overweight. She's worried because obviously her doctors have made it a concern that, you know, she has to keep an eye on that low blood sugar. But if she's dealing with low blood sugar chronically, then that does mean that there's something going on in her body that she may not have been diagnosed with yet. Because there's a lot of people out there that just haven't been diagnosed. I mean, we're seeing people with heart disease, plaque buildup in their arteries and in their brain, and they have not gotten a diagnosis yet from the medical doctor. So in that situation, the bioscan helps us to kind of be proactive. So in other words, we want to address that issue way before it now becomes a serious issue. If it's just a matter of just her intaking a little bit more glucose into her system, then yeah, she's going to be able to do fruit and all of that during that time. So she won't have that problem. Now, she also needs to be exercising during the cleanse as well. So she can do fruit during the day, and then the juices, you know, there's a level of glucose in everything that she's going to be taking. Now, calorie-wise, that'll be at a decrease because you want to be doing many calories. That's why a lot of people tend to lose weight. But so I wouldn't worry about the hypo because she can easily correct hypo. It's much harder to correct hyper than hypo. You know, a lot of people who's dealing with hypo just go to the kitchen, drink some orange juice or something, and they're able to kind of bring that back into effect. But the problem would be if for some reason she drinks the orange juice, but yet she's still hypo, then that does mean that there's something going on with her insulin, and she could be undiagnosed.
Okay. I will
All
let
right.
her know. Thank you.
So if she needs further, if I may need more information. So if you need to do a group text, that'll help out as well.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Dr. Prince, we have somebody that asked, they said, after the 21 or 7-day, is it okay to drink the tea to maintain elimination? And the reason they asked is because they have diverticulitis.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't recommend drinking the tea on a regular basis. One is because the tea is to move the waste out of the system in order to facilitate better elimination. But it doesn't just move waste out. It also moves gut flora out. It also moves those probiotics out, those good bacteria. So if you're drinking the tea on a regular basis, then you're wiping out your immune system, because 70% of your immune system is in your gut. And what that means is that those microorganisms, that bacteria, that those billions of cultures of different strains of bacteria in your gut, they're the ones that's making the enzymes that your body needs for everything. They're the ones that's making some of the necessary molecules that keeps the body functioning. So if you're constantly doing the tea, you're not giving them a chance to populate. The best thing you can do after the cleanse is to repopulate. Start putting more gut flora in. Start putting more fermented food in your system. Start eating more raw food, so that's going to help you with elimination. Start doing more digestive enzymes. Even if you have to do supplemental enzymes, after the cleanse, that's going to help you with elimination, not just drinking the tea. The tea is just a means, to the end, but it's not the end. Okay.
Great, great, great. All right, here's one. Do I take medication during the cleanse?
It depends on medication you're taking. If you're dealing with like blood pressure, blood sugar, heart medication, all that, then for the first part of the cleanse, you will be taking it. But at some point, you won't be able to take it. It won't be like we're going to tell you to stop. No, your body is going to let you know that it just can't, it's not going to work, because medicine is strong. Medicine is so strong, you don't even know how strong it is until you've cleaned your body out. And remember, when you clean your body out, you're clearing out mucus, which is helping to promote better absorption. That's when you find out how strong the medicine is. See, there are two diseases. The first disease is the one you create. The second one is the one the healthcare system creates. Medicine creates a second disease, but you don't know that because you're still battling the first one. So when you start detoxing, you are addressing the first disease and you clear it up. But when you clear up the first disease, now you realize that the medicine is causing a second. That's why people have to come off of it. If you go past 7 days on blood pressure medication, you're gonna be hypotensive, not hypertensive. And you're gonna feel dizzy, lightheaded. You're like, wait a minute, this cleanse is making me sick. No, the cleanse ain't making you sick. The medicine is making you sick. Because when you give a healthy person medication, you make them sick. So at some point, you have to let it go. Some people hold on to medication like they own it, like it's personal. Like,
Okay. Question is
but you definitely, it's okay to let your medical doctor know that you're gonna do something, some life-changing things and some plans, because they're gonna know that you're gonna have to come down off it, because they know once you tell them that you can't stay on that dosage, they're gonna either say, well, let's cut it in half. They don't never really want to tell you to stop, because that's not their protocol. Don't ask them to tell you to stop. You have to, it's your body. You have to know when it's time to let it go. And when your body tells you that the medicine is too strong, then at that point, you have to make the decision, not us. But I would say by the end of the cleanse, I've gotten people off anywhere from 7 to 11 different medications, because they just didn't need them anymore. you're crossing over from synthetic medicine to natural medicine, from man's medicine to God's medicine. If you trust and believe in God, then that won't be a problem. Okay?
All right. All right. Somebody asked, can you delve just a little on what is meant by a bloodline curse?
Bloodline curse. It has to do with what degenerative disease runs in your bloodline. What did your grandmother? My grandmother, she passed from heart disease. So she had a heart attack on Thanksgiving. When Melissa used to always introduce me, she used to always say that I didn't tell her to use that, but she used it because I guess it was kind of explaining why I went into this field, because that is one of the reasons. The fact that my grandmother died from a heart attack on Thanksgiving back in 1979. I was 10 years young. We had just left my cousin's house, and this was in the projects. This was in Cabrini Green housing project, 630 West Evergreen. My grandmother lived on the 15th floor. My cousins lived on the 5th floor. We lived on the 15th floor with my grandmother. And so when we left, my mother came to pick us up because, she was getting on her feet at that time. So my mother came to pick us up. My grandmother, I remember, and it's as clear as day. I remember in the kitchen when my grandmother was making this big old giant turkey, and I saw her clench her chest. I looked at her. I knew something wasn't right. I asked her, was she all right? She said, as usual, she said, I'm okay. But I didn't realize that later on that day, that sign when he clenched her chest would be the fact that her heart attack, she was going to have a major heart attack when we left. And sure enough, by the time I got back to the south side from the near north side, we had gotten a phone call saying that my grandmother passed. So what that means is that heart disease runs in my family. But then when my mother got diagnosed with diabetes in her 50s, then now I was predisposed to not only heart disease, but now I was predisposed to diabetes. So this is a curse that I say is running through the family, because now I can't go back too far because I don't know my family tree. But the question is, how far back does heart disease go in my family? How far back does diabetes go in my family? That's a curse because it keeps going from generation to generation to generation. And you know what else is going with it? The diet and the lifestyle. So we're living in a bloodline curse because we're passing down bad health when we should be passing down wealth. And so that's what it means by a bloodline curse. And so when my mom turned 80, August 4th, she had now exceeded the age of the oldest person that have lived in our family, 79. Now that's not really that far up there, but you still, a lot of people aren't reaching 79. But I didn't know that because I didn't know the history of the bloodline curse. But my mother knew the history. She was like, no one in our family on our cousin's side has lived past 79. So when she reached 80, that was the breaking of the bloodline curse. Awesome. That means that now we have access to 80, to 90, possibly 120. I'm going to try to push it to about 500 plus. I want to give my family blessings because we've dealt with enough curses. And this was, and let me tell you, this is in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, outlines the curses upon a people. It also outlines the blessings. And so when you go read Deuteronomy 28 when you get a chance, it's a little strange, but you're going to notice that as you're reading it, it's talking about our people. It even mentions inflammation in Deuteronomy. It even mentions diabetes in Deuteronomy. Now, when you go to Deuteronomy, it's not going to say diabetes. Guess what it's going to say? It's going to describe it as a sore botch that cannot be healed. A sore that cannot be healed. Isn't that diabetes when a person has to get a toe amputated, then a foot amputated, and then a leg amputated because it's not healing? Well, this was written in the Bible before it even happened to let you know why it was happening. So when I talk about curses, yeah, there is a bloodline curse on us, but there's a curse in general on our people that has been lifted. And our goal in this whole process is to assist people in breaking the bloodline curse in their family as well. Okay.
All right. Oh my goodness. All right, Dr. Prince, Carol. Carol, go ahead and unmute.
Okay. Hello, Doctor.
Hey, Carol. Hey, Carol.
How are you?
All right, I'm doing great.
Okay, I am facing some very serious challenges again.
Okay.
You knew from our first experience, well, they've confirmed amyloidosis of the heart.
Okay.
And the medication that they prescribed, the very expensive medication, like $17,000 for a 30-day supply, obviously did not work for me.
Right.
So I guess I've done two cleanses since the first one, and I'm going to join our Akana on our next one. But is there any suggestions that you have for my situation? I am so sick of these life-threatening, 3 years to live. They've been telling me that now for
3 years, right?
forever. One of the things in my research that I found is that babies born by cesarean or C-section are subject to have autoimmune diseases. And I had 9. And part of this amyloidosis was because of sarcoidosis, which traveled to the heart, and now it's amyloidosis for whatever reason.
Gotcha.
So it's functioning somewhere around 20% of capacity, and it gives me some challenging moments, but I refuse to quit.
Right.
So, any suggestions?
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? I think,
If you're speaking, I can't hear you.
can you hear me okay?
No, we lost you. I hear you faintly, but we lost your volume, Dr. Prince.
Yeah, 'cause I can't hear them anymore. Hold on, you guys.
You're way in the background, but it's like you are.
Oh yeah. Okay, here I go.
There you go.
The
Yes, sir.
car stole my call.
Yeah.
So, so back to Carol. How many cleanses have you done since you first started your journey? Are you still there, Carol?
I'm still here. Yes, I've done.
You done 2?
Yes.
For the 21-day cleanse or 7?
No, the 21.
Okay. So you got to give your body a little time to heal. How's your exercise routine? Are you getting any movement in?
I am. I've been doing the rebounder.
Okay, got you. You may have to get out and do some walking. I know the rebounder is good, but you may need to do a little bit walking to get the muscles moving, get that heart pumping, because apparently it's attacking your heart. Don't take that. Sorry about that, guys. Just take 70 first. So you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be cleansing periodically. Now, like I said, the next cleanse, you want to focus more on maybe refining your diet. Is there anything in your diet right now that you think you need to let go?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I have not, since a year coming up, I have not had any meat.
Congratulations. Great.
Yeah, I have not. I really have taken it seriously. But what I'm finding out in research for the autoimmune diseases, things like bell peppers I shouldn't have, things that supposedly are good and normal, but for me, shade vegetables I should not have. So, this is a whole learning thing I got to go through of reforming now even what quote unquote might be good is not good for me because of autoimmune diseases, is in spite of, you know, things that are okay on my eat right for my blood type are not okay for the autoimmune diseases.
Got you. Okay. And that's okay. Whatever your body tells you you don't need to be eating, then don't do it. But at some point down the line, you will be able to. If you're still dealing with autoimmune condition, that means that you need to go back and reevaluate what you're doing on a regular basis, as far as exercise, as far as what you're eating, when you're eating. You also, I think, on the last question, I talked about enzymes and probiotics. Enzymes and probiotics.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna be doing that on a regular basis. So after every cleanse, you want to start taking certain probiotics.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere from, I would say, at a minimum of 3 to 7 strains, which is different culture, different bacteria cultures. You can get them at any health food store around, but you want to be taking them on the regular basis. And then also digestive enzymes. You know, even though you haven't eaten any meat, you have to understand that it took me 7 years. Not, is it 7? No, it took 6 years, from 2004 to 2010, for me to get meat out of my system. So your body is going to go through some changes as it's healing, but sometimes those changes will look like certain Herxheimer symptoms. But if you go to the medical doctor, they're gonna treat them based upon their protocol. They don't understand the healing process because they're not taught and trained in the healing process. So you may have some aches and pains here and there, some symptoms showing up, but that's okay. Just all you have to do is stay consistent on cleansing and detoxifying your body. That's all you have to do.
So when you say digestive enzymes, specifically, what are you referring to?
Anything that contains protease, which breaks down protein, amylase, which breaks down carbohydrate, and lipase, which breaks down fats. So protease, amylase, and lipase. These are enzymes that because you're consuming fats, proteins, and carbs on a daily basis. So you want to assist your body in breaking them down, because now, you got to remember, when you detox, you're starting the cleansing process, but that process goes on for years, you know. And I know that now because the fact that my mother lost her sugar craving, it took her a while to lose it, but all she did was stay consistent with cleansing, and then eventually she just didn't have the desire for the stuff that was causing her diabetes, the stuff that was causing her weight gain. She didn't eat. She let go of the beer as well. She was a beer drinker, but now she doesn't have any desire for that because she continued cleansing and detoxifying her body. So it was a long road, but I cleansed her. I've been cleansing my mom for years, and it hasn't been a smooth road, but now she's at that place where she's now more in control over her health. This is why she's able to work out several times a week. But it's a work in progress, but don't give up on the holistic process. You know, just go back into the cleanse, because every cleanse is going to have a different theme. And once you finish this cleanse, you should see some difference. But you want to do the cleanse to a T. You want to hit those juices the way you're supposed to hit them. You want to hit that raw food, everything. You want to get the exercise in. You want to get your water intake. And not only that, but you also want to start to consider meditation, because it's all about energy as well. It's not always what you're putting in your body. Sometimes it's what you're putting in your mind. But meditation, that's something that I want to start working on. I did a few excerpts at the event, at the pajama party. I did a demonstration, but I think I need to have more of a Zoom class on loosening those seals, those energy centers, so that people can start to combine the energy work with the detox, with the exercise, with the food and water intake. See, it's not just one thing that's going to do it. It's a combination of multiple things that you have to do. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about everything else later, especially the energy work. But yeah, go back into the cleanse. And because even when you cleanse, you're gonna get rid of some of that medication as well. So start the cleanse and evaluate after the cleanse what you need to do. But then after that cleanse, make sure you text me and Sharon so we can give you recommendations for different probiotics and enzymes. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we just got a couple more. This is Arvella. She says her husband has sugar, high blood pressure, and has a kidney transplant. Will the 21-day cleanse help?
Yes, I have detoxed. In fact, I detoxed a Chicago police officer who had a kidney. He had a new kidney, brand new kidney. And I was concerned at first because here's the thing. When you do the detox, it's boosting your immune system. Slow down. Yeah, watch them things. Sharon's driving, and those speed things be showing up. She ain't recognize because they be hiding behind trees. So they be trying to get us, boy. Yeah, they done dropped down to 15 miles per hour. If you ain't going 15 miles per hour, you're gonna get a ticket. I'm like, really? That'll stress you out enough. But yeah, so we detoxed the police officer, and the cleanse boosts the immune system. So my concern was, man, if I boost his immune system, is it gonna cause it to attack that foreign kidney? But what I realized is that, you're still going to be taking immunosuppressant drugs, because obviously that's what you have to take, but you can balance it. It's about balancing. So when you take the immunosuppressant drugs, it's going to give you the ability to fight off attacking that
I'm missing it.
but you still need to clean the organ out.
Dr. Prince.
This is what happened with my mother's husband.
Dr. Prince.
He had also went on dialysis. He was dealing with the same thing. Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2.
Okay,
yeah,
so you had a little break.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
You hear me now?
We can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah. Well, when you driving, sometimes it's a
you
little unstable. So I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. You hit a dead spot.
So when my mom's husband went on dialysis first, he was blessed to get a kidney, immunosuppressant drugs. But what happened is that even though he got a new kidney, he never made any changes, never detoxed his body, and he wound up passing in his sleep. So it wasn't enough just to have a new kidney. You have to now protect that kidney as you didn't protect the other ones. You have to clean that kidney out, even though it wasn't originally your kidney. You have to clean that heart out, even though it wasn't originally your heart. And yeah, you can still take the immunosuppressant drugs, but flushing your organs, definitely gonna burn. So it's definitely gonna help out. It's gonna flush out, just to take, so that the ones he do, you see. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we got.
But to answer your question, yes. Yeah, you answer your question. Yeah, it's gonna help out a whole lot. You want to protect that organ.
Whew.
All right. Let's see. I think that's it. Valicia said, what about emotional healing work around the heart? And I think you kind of mentioned that with the meditation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be the big thing, as you can see, from from what we experienced with the Legacy Conference is that we're starting to go into a lot of energy work, because that's the next level. Even Albert Einstein, who came up with the equation E = mc², he said the future of medicine is the medicine of frequencies. At some point in our existence here, we won't be as reliant upon external medicine, because your body has the capabilities of producing whatever your body needs to heal itself. But we have fallen from that point. We have devolved from the ability to activate the metabolites in our body to heal ourselves. So when you get back to doing the energy work, you're actually, what I didn't get a chance to tell people or talk to people about is that when you start to open up those energy centers in your body through meditation, you send that energy up to your pineal gland. That pineal gland has thousands of metabolite molecules that are antiviral, antimicrobial, antifungal, anti-everything. And these are produced in your own brain. But if you're not able to channel that energy up to that gland, then you won't even have access to these wonderful chemicals that are healing to the body. So therefore, what do we have to do? We have to rely upon external chemicals, you see? So you're doing the cleanse and you're staying consistent with this lifestyle until you reach a point where that energy is flowing like a river in your body and you're healing yourself on a daily basis. In fact, you're flowing so much with that life force energy that you're finding yourself not even needing food as much because you're not as hungry. Your body is feeding itself. And so these are some of the things that I'm experiencing where I don't have to eat as much, even though I'm training. In fact, there was one day I was shocked. There was one day I went out to train, and I didn't eat. I didn't eat in the training. I didn't even eat after the training. And before I knew it, the next day, I realized I didn't eat for 24 hours, even though I had trained that same day. What that meant was that now I did drink some water, but I didn't feel the need to eat because the energy was flowing so well in my system due to the energy work that I've been doing over the years that my body didn't crave food because it already had the nutrients that was being internally created. So this is next level. Once you start doing more energy work, you won't have heart issues. You won't have brain issues because those energy centers innervate those organs. Once you clear the energy centers and the energy channels, that energy will supply those organs with the information that it needs through the frequencies in order to heal that organ.
You just
Question?
No, go ahead. No, but I wanted to, Erica, unmute yourself so you can share that.
Hi, thank you. Thanks, Dr. Roz. I appreciate that. Sorry, I don't mean to hold things up because I know we're getting ready to end.
You ain't holding nothing. You ain't holding nothing up.
So I just had a question for you, and I thank you because I know you told me when I met with you last year about this time that I could heal my body from MS. But you know, this year they came out with a study that had talked about a lot of autoimmune conditions, especially MS, coming from people who have had the Epstein-Barr virus. Which I remember having when I was in my high school, in my college years, my second year of college. I was really sick from Epstein-Barr. And they were saying the kissing disease. And I'm like, where did I get the kissing disease from? So all this stuff. But, you know, but they came out with that study, what they never had a cause before, you know, and so it's really interesting to see that. So what I've been doing in between the cleanses, I've done the 21-day cleanse twice, and I've done the 7-day cleanse successfully once, and then another time I didn't really complete it well. And then But in between that now, because they had that study come out, I've been following another group that has been talking about people who have been healing their bodies with MS, that have
Yeah.
had MS. And so they've been doing celery juice and lemon water, some of the same things that we were doing in, you know, in the cleanse that you've introduced us to. But I've been drinking celery juice up to 16 ounces right now, but they talked about taking it up to 32 ounces. It's cleansing because I got to go to the bathroom after I drink that celery juice for sure.
Right.
And then focusing on heavy metals. I'm grateful for the bioscan because I can see what heavy metals are in my body. So I'm not so worried about that because I know I can do that and look and see what's there. You know, but it's also, you know, what Carol was just talking about. They talk about staying away from nightshades and all that kind of stuff. I don't really have a reaction to things like peppers and those kinds of things. So I'm just basing it upon what my body feels. But I'm just curious about your thoughts about, you know, if you've seen anything about that study, your thoughts about it. You know, I'm just trying to get my body to heal the best way that I can. But it's, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of things when you start reading into things. So
Right.
just want to get your thoughts.
Yeah. Don't get too caught up in the studies, because remember, you know, our perception controls our biology. So you may have a lot of information out there and you're reading up on it, but what you have to understand is that you are the placebo. You are the placebo. And what does that mean? That means that what you believe, what you accept, what you receive, once it's processed through your own channels, then it's gonna bring some type of effect to your body. Now, if I don't believe what you believe, then I'm not gonna be affected by it because of my unbelief. In fact, a lot of people in scripture couldn't be healed because of their unbelief. They didn't believe that Jesus was a Messiah, so therefore he couldn't heal them. That's why he said a prophet is not without honor except in his own home and his own hometown. And so that's a dynamic. The fact that even though he was able to heal many people across the world, across the country, across Damascus or whatever, he couldn't heal the people that didn't believe in him.
Right.
And so it comes down to belief, which is why the energy work is so powerful and important, because you may still have some trapped energy that needs to be released. And so that's why now, as we're going into this next phase of, like you said, raising our vibrations, the medicine of frequencies is going to be key to people resolving all issues, because once you start to get that energy elevated, you start to allow for more frequencies to come in to shift and change your genetics, to change your genes, to change your DNA, so that you can start producing, or shall I say reproducing, new proteins, because your body is made up of protein, and your DNA is constantly remaking protein to resupply your organs with what it needs. But at some point down the line, we start to create defective protein. And as we create defective protein, we start causing our organs and our circuitry to start degenerating, especially the nervous system. But it's based upon what we're holding in our minds energetically, as well as what we're holding in our bodies. So if we want new protein, healthy protein to be created in our body to replace the defective protein that's causing the myelin sheath, to deteriorate, then we need to start to allow for higher frequencies to come in with more information that's going to help to activate your epigenetic expression. Epigenetics means that you're going to allow your environment, whether it's actual or imagined, to start to create healthy proteins in your body to replace the proteins that are damaged. So that means that you have the power within you to heal your body, but you also have to begin to not give MS too much attention. So remember when I first talked to you guys and you called yourselves the MS warriors, I said, no, we need to take that out. And call yourself the wellness warriors. So now you're not giving MS any power. And it takes a little time, because if it's been in your system and you talk to the medical doctors and you've had the outbreaks or the experiences, then to you it's real. So therefore it's hard to not believe it. But as you start to realize how science works, how the mind works, you realize that you have to begin to allow for higher frequencies to come into your system, to your body, so that it can bring new information.
Right.
And the new information is going to bring new proteins, and the new protein is going to bring new organs and a new body. And then now you're activating the higher expression of your genetics, which is that youthing gene. The lower expression expresses MS. The higher expression expresses perfection and returning back to your youth. So as we start to talk more about energy work, that's going to be the key. That's going to be like the icing on the cake. That's going to really get you to where you want to be. It's not enough just putting stuff in your body. And I know that, and I'm grateful that I learned how to meditate before any of this stuff even happened. I wasn't a meditator when I was in emergency medicine. I wasn't a meditator when I worked in the ER, and I was just trying to learn then. And it wasn't until I learned meditation, until I started doing energy work with my body, until things just started changing. And that was the key. It wasn't so much as what I was putting in my mouth, it was what I was putting in my mind.
Right.
So we're going to start doing a lot of talking and discussion and teaching on energy work, so that you can start practicing opening up your own energy centers and allowing your brain to be rewired. They call that neuroplasticity.
Right. I'm familiar with neuroplasticity.
Once you do that, then neuroplasticity. So once you do that, then your brain is going to start to send the right chemicals down through your bloodstream to start to heal your body. And once you reestablish connection between your heart and your brain, they call that heart-brain coherence. Once you reestablish that, the heart, which is the headquarters of the body, the heart is the headquarters. There's intrinsically far more nerves going from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the heart. See, we never knew that. That means that the heart is the one that's governing your body. So as you start to really tune in with that heart energy center, that's going to send the right frequency to your brain to rewire and send the right chemicals to your body to cause the epigenetics expression to activate the higher expression and to shut down the lower expression. And these are, I know this might sound a little complicated as I'm saying it, but these are the things that I know must happen in the body in order to get it back into perfect balance. So the cleanse is one aspect of it. Now we're going. This is my anniversary with the organization, because this is the month that I first was introduced to you guys. And so the first year was about the cleanse and detoxification. Now going into this next year, we're going to talk about raising our energy, raising our vibrations. That's going to be the key.
Okay, got it.
So
I did have a dream last night that I was running. So I think that has to be a good thing. I had a dream last night that I ran. I told Troy that I've never had a dream like that, but so I was envisioning myself running. In my dream, I was running.
Wow.
I ain't ran in a few years, but yeah. So, but thank you. Okay.
And let me say this before I let you go. Take that dream. That was a unconscious dream. Make it a conscious dream. Don't be afraid to run in your imagination. I challenge everyone on there to live in your imagination, not in your memory. Because if you live in your imagination, you're living in what's called the unknown. In the unknown, there's a version of you that's running a 5K. In the unknown, there's a version of you that's running a half marathon. You see? So when you live in your imagination, you live in infinite possibilities. But when you live in your memory, you're living in the known. And as long as you're living in the known, you can never change nothing in your life. So don't be afraid to live in your imagination. Don't be afraid to dream. That dream was a precursor. Now take that dream and do it deliberately. Every night when you go to bed, before you go to bed in a relaxed state, as your brain drops into the alpha wave state, because you got four states of brain wave. You have beta, which is what we're in right now. Then you have alpha, as you start to drop down into your calm state. You have theta, which is that meditative state. And then delta is deep sleep. So you go up in the elevator and down in the elevator twice in 24 hours. When you wake up, you're going from delta to theta to alpha to beta. When you go to sleep at night, you're going from beta to alpha to theta to delta. It is in the alpha to theta state that your mind is most receptive. It is in the alpha to theta state where your conscious mind starts to fall away. Reason this is important is because your conscious mind has all the defense mechanisms. It has all the blockage, all the obstructions to you achieving your dreams. Take your dreams and live inside your mind as you drop into that alpha state. Not when you're falling deep into a sleep, but right when there's not much activity going on around you. Maybe you're watching TV, but then you don't want to watch TV and do this. You want to just kind of be in a quiet place, and it can be right before you go to sleep. But the point I want you to see is that when you drop down into that alpha theta state, your subconscious mind is most receptive to suggestions. It's one of the reasons why pharmaceutical companies play their commercials at night, because they know that you're falling into an alpha brainwave state. So you're going to be more receptive to their commercials. Well, don't stop letting other people use you for your own human technology. They've been doing that for years. Now you can do it. Now you can control your fertile soil. You operate through your imagination in that alpha wave state, in your relaxed state, and you live inside your dreams and you run as much as you can. Run as fast as you can, run anywhere, run everywhere, but just run. And feel the feeling that you're running. Because it's not just about the thought. It's also about the feeling. Because there's a certain feeling you have when you're running in your dreams. And if you have to put a little music to it, go right ahead. They call that a mental movie. I create mental movies all the time.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have a question, and because I have to run. So as it pertaining to what you're talking about with her, I found some because somebody who had cancer told me about these frequencies that you can listen to at night. No matter what your condition, you can go to YouTube and Google it. And I have really been using a lot of those frequencies and just listening to them at night before I go to sleep. Because a friend of mine told me how it helped her so much. What do you think of that?
No, I think that's frequency, listening to a frequency, or listening to music, which is pretty much the same thing. But sometimes if you listen to music, it may be like a soothing music. Sometimes you may want to use meditative music, but it is going to give you a certain frequency. Like there are certain frequencies of healing, certain frequencies of health. I think one of them is like 832 hertz, something like that. But there are certain frequencies that resonate well with your body. And if you want to use frequencies to go into your meditation, that's even better. The more you can make your subconscious mind open and receptive to your visions. So now, let's say you're listening to the frequencies, like Erica, and you're in that, the frequencies are naturally going to bring you into an alpha wave state. When you're falling into that state, that's when you activate your movie. That's when you begin to see yourself running. But now here's the key to that process. And this is what you have to master. You have to master the ability to live in your imagination in first person. You have to master the ability to live in your imagination in first person. What does that mean? That means that you're the subject of the vision. That means that you don't see yourself in the vision. You can't see your face in your vision if you're in first person. Does that make sense?
Okay.
You don't.
Can't see yourself. Okay.
In other words, only way you're going to see your face in your vision is if you look in a mirror. If let's say you're visualizing, if you go and look in a mirror, that's the only time you're going to see your face, because you are the topic. You're the subject of your visualization.
All right. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like when they came out with the movie The Secret, they talked about, going to get a new car. Well, if you want a new car, according to The Secret, you have to go car shopping. You sit in the car, you put your hands on the wheels, and you visualize driving that car. But you're visualizing it from being in the seat, not from you looking at yourself in the seat. See, the subconscious mind only works a certain, you see what I'm saying? It only works a certain way. Now, let's say, how a person, they like a car, they visualize a car, they say, I want that car. And now all of a sudden you keep seeing that car everywhere you go. That's because you haven't visualized yourself in the car. So you have to think from your vision, not of your vision. Let me say that again. You have to think from your vision, not of your vision. And so when you're running, for instance, if I'm running, and it took me a while to kind of master this piece as well. When I'm running, I'm seeing my arms going up and down. I'm seeing my legs coming up, my knees coming up, but I can't see my torso, because if I'm running, I'm not looking at my torso.
Right.
I can't see my face because I'm looking at the track. I'm looking at the road. I see the finish line. I see the competitors next to me. If I turn to my right, I see a competitor on my right. If I turn to my left, I see somebody coming up on my left. So I'm literally living inside of my vision.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense? That's first person.
It does.
Let me tell you, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference
Right.
between what you're visualizing in that alpha theta state. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what you're visualizing and what you're actually doing.
Okay.
And you have to practice this every night, even if it's only for a few minutes. Practice it every night until you master that piece, because this is how you're gonna get any and everything in your life for the rest of your life. Good health, wealth, it doesn't matter. There are no limits. And that's the scary part, is that if people really knew the power that they have, they would be exercising on a daily basis. But we don't know the power we have. So that's why, so start trying your visualization, at night or in the morning, and run. And just visualize running, visualize exercise, visualize doing everything that you would be doing if you had perfect health. And eventually your subconscious mind is going to start believing that you have perfect health. And guess what it's going to do? It's going to start producing the necessary components, the necessary proteins, the necessary peptides. It's going to produce all of it based upon the vision you have for yourself. And that's how life works. I use it every day, all the time. That's why I'm running. I had to visualize running college track and field again, because I didn't believe it was possible. But when I started visualizing running with the kids, obviously I'm not going to visualize losing. I visualize winning.
Right.
And guess what? I now have videos of me beating college kids at Division I, Division II, Division III track and field, because I visualized it. Let me tell you, when I won the world championship in Sacramento, it played out better than my movie. When I crossed the finish line, and let me tell you how cool it was. You know how it's always a better movie when it's a close race. It's not really cool if you just blowing the person out, right? No, it's
Right.
it's more exciting. The crowd is on their feet, and you're only 50 meters from the finish line, but yet you're still not in the lead. You know how that feels when you're gaining on somebody, and the crowd may not even be your friend. They may not even know you, but They just want you to win because you're overcoming as an underdog. And sure enough, I was the underdog. 50 meters from the finish line, I won the race, but I had to track him down. And once I finished the race, the credits started rolling. Everybody in the crowd was clapping my hands. It was like the end of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the movie I played in my head for months before that race. And it played out just the same way, but even better. So I know without a shadow of a doubt, that mental movie is the key to your eternal success. And that's for everybody else, okay?
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you, Erica. I saw your messages come through.
Yeah, I was just going to tell you that she put that in there for you. Arvella, I know that you unmuted, and I know that Dr. Prince was going through his call was dropping a little bit when you were talking about your husband. And I saw you unmute, Arvella. Did you need to talk back to him before we close tonight?
I did unmute. I wanted to, because so many things are going on with him right now.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out how I can get him involved so that he can buy in to cleansing his body, because he's got where he lost 2 toes were amputated because he burned his foot with the electric blanket, and then now healing has been a slow process because they had to go in and open the arteries in his leg that leads down to that foot.
Got you.
They went down to the outside of the foot to go underneath, and they couldn't go underneath to finish it all the way. And then he turned around the following week and broke his ankle because he fell. He said his legs got weakened. He fell and he fractured his ankle. And I'm just trying to figure out what I can do. I said, because I told him, I said, you got to make it, honey. You're too young to be, he's 76. But I'm like, hey, it's not time to give up.
Exactly. So I have to help you with that. You don't have to try to do that on your own. That's what the coaches are for. Right now, the coaches that are in training, you guys have to lean on the experienced coaches. The new coaches, you have to lean on us to partner with you in assisting in convincing and talking to the people that are dealing with sickness and imbalance, because you can't do it on your own. Like I said, that phenomenon is outlined in Scripture. When Jesus tried to deal with his family, his friends, they knew him, so therefore they didn't believe in him.
Right.
You have to set up a 3-way call or a text group, and you have to bring me into it so that we can start to talk to him, because I can reason with another man. He's gonna tune into my vibration and frequency because I'm outside of the family, I'm outside of the marriage, I'm outside of the relationship. So I can say exactly what you tell him, and it'll sound like profound. It'll sound like I'm a genius. Like, wait a minute, didn't your wife just tell you this? It didn't matter. It came from somebody else.
Right.
That's how you have to deal with it. And there's a lot of coaches right now that are doing this, and it's working. So whoever that is dealing with any type of health issues, you ask them, hey, is it okay if we talk to Dr. Prince, and there's no cost to talking. I just want to tell them something that they may not have known.
Okay.
And just remember this. When you do a lot of energy work over years, you're at a higher frequency that entrains people into what you're saying. So I know exactly what I'm doing when I speak. I raise my vibrations, I raise my frequency, I attune my heart with my brain, and I raise my level of consciousness all the way up to my 6th and 7th energy center. And I stay in that vibration, because when I stay in that vibration, your heart and my heart start to beat together. When you're harmonizing with another person, you're also healing them in that same conversation. That's why Jesus said, if you drink of my blood and if you eat of my flesh, you shall have eternal life. Well, a lot of people didn't understand what he was saying. Even some of the disciples, they thought it was a hard saying because they thought he was talking about consuming him. That didn't make sense to him. But what he was trying to tell you is that the words that I speak, they are spirit, they are frequency, they are energy, and they are life. So when I speak to people, I'm speaking to them, and it sometimes don't even matter what I'm saying to them. The fact that I'm speaking to them, I'm sending them frequency, I'm sending them healing vibrations in that moment. So they're drinking of my spirit. And as I talk, they're consuming my words. You know, so the words that I speak, you can consume words. So eating and drinking is synonymous with spiritual energy, as well as consuming the words that a person is saying. And we represent the trees of life. The people who tell the lies, they represent the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because he says, in the day that you eat, that you consume from that tree, ye shall surely die. The reason your husband is in his condition is because he's been eating from the tree of lies most of his life.
Yeah.
So it's time for him to start to eat from a tree of life. And we can save his limbs and save the rest of his body. I did it with my mother. She was at that point where she was gonna have to get some toes amputated, but we turned it around and she's doing well. That's why she's in the gym, because she's not gonna let it go now that she has it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell her anything now. She's gonna keep on training, practicing, working out 80, 90, and she's gonna keep on cleansing every year. So if I can help you with it, I will. So just connect with me, do the 3-way text, talk to him first, make sure he's okay with it, and then we go from there, okay?
Okay. And the other thing is that I have been with all of this stuff going on with him, I have been trying to get on to set up my scan, and invariably something always comes up, and I know what it is the enemy does not want me to do this because it will touch so many lives.
Exactly.
And so I still need to get my scan set up.
Okay. We can probably meet at some point at Wakana, at the headquarters during the week, and see what we need to do about that.
Okay. I live in Oklahoma.
Oh, snap. I can't go to Oklahoma. I don't want to go to Oklahoma. This tornado weather.
I live in Oklahoma. Winter's coming, and we liable to get ice anytime. But
okay, then we'll have to do it over Zoom. Then I'll just have to. Yeah, we can do it over Zoom. Let's see if we can do a Zoom call, and I can troubleshoot what's going on and get it set up. Okay.
Okay.
So let's do that this week. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. We got about 1 minute, and this last question, because we're gonna let Dr. Prince go. He's had a long day. Miss Bertha wanted to know, with blood type O, can she drink cucumber juice or cucumber water daily?
Well, is that a part of your? You said cucumber. Okay, yeah, that is a part of the list. It's not about what you're doing some of the time. It's about what you're doing all of the time. So if you're drinking it all of the time, it could become detrimental over time. If you're doing it some of the time, it's okay. So I wouldn't drink cucumber juice every day. So, and then also you want to connect your cucumber juice with other fruits and vegetables that are actually beneficial. So that way you can cancel out some of the lectins that may be in that cucumber juice. Don't just do cucumber juice by itself. That's basically like, just if it's on your avoid list, you might as well just be drinking poison every day, because at some point it's going to affect your system. Maybe not in a month, maybe not even in a year, but it's about long term. People now are experiencing symptoms and issues because they've been doing stuff all their life that they should have been avoiding at some point. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Prince. I wanted to focus on that avoid list because I want to understand when I'm talking to people why, and I can't explain always why. So that's important to me.
Got it. No problem.
All right, guys, listen, I want to put this up. I'm going to say it again. It's 8 o'clock Central Time. We've got till 12 midnight tonight. This was from the Legacy Conference special. So you're not going to find this price again. until around Black Friday when we have a lot of great deals. So you want to get this, let your customers know, you should know. And Melissa did mention again for us doing a company-wide cleanse.
There we
So
go.
didn't know when she said it's going to start. I'm assuming it's going to start November 1st. She has not said yet, but she definitely said we're going to be done with it by the time Thanksgiving hit. So, you
Gotcha.
know, even though people will be doing vegan Thanksgiving, some of you, but
Right.
let's make sure that if you're going to do it, some of you have already started cleanses, some of you are in the middle of a cleanse, but I'm one of those, I'm ready to start this November 1st or whenever we're going to start. So let's get busy and create more testimonies, everybody. Thank you so much, Dr. Prince, for your time.
Thank you, Rosalind. Dr. Rosalind, I appreciate you.
Thank you, Sharon,
Dr.
for
Prince.
driving.
Welcome. It's been a pleasure.
All right.
I didn't know you can hear it. Say it again.
I said you all are welcome. It's been my pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Great job.
Thank
you,
everybody.
Margaret.
Hey.
Bye-bye, Paula.
Hello.
Thanks,
Dr.
Prince.
Prince.
Guys.
All right, stay
God
safe
bless
and
you
stay
all.
focused. Be good to
Looking
you
forward.
all.
Good night.
Good night,
forward to
everyone.
Seeing you
Good
this
night,
weekend,
everyone.
Dr.
Great call,
Prince.
Dr. Prince and Dr.
Great.
Box.
Be good.
All right, see you.
Good night.
All
Thank
right,
you.
I see you, Anita. I see you, Anita.
All right.
God bless you.
You
Bye,
too. We'll
Gertrude.
talk soon.
All right. We see you, Dr. Betty.